Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where I'm going to talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, I'm going to talk about it. I'm flying solo today, and I got to start off with a couple of housekeeping items. Starting off, apologizing for next week. I said I was going to do a show, and I missed it. I had a friend in town who was visiting, and I was on vacation, and I thought maybe that was going to give me more than enough time to do a show. Turns out it wasn't. We were so busy running around town doing stuff, showing him the sights, that I did not have time to do a show. For that, I do apologize. Of course, that means I missed out on telling you guys what I thought about the new and final Rogue One trailer, but don't worry, I'll get into that. Like I said, it's just me here today. Lisa is busy running errands. Josh couldn't do it, but hopefully I struck a deal with him, so maybe I'll get him more on the show because I know he loves doing this. I love having him here. I mean, Josh is my Walking Dead guy, and I know Walking Dead just premiered. That's what everyone's talking about it, but I don't watch Walking Dead. I have him for Walking Dead. I have Lourdes for Doctor Who. I have Lisa for, Star Wars and Harry Potter and all that. I try to cover all my bases with my other co-host, so to speak. So there's stuff that I don't watch, such as The Walking Dead, which I feel like I do need other people here because I know you as listeners, there are things that I talk about you don't like and some things that you do. So I try to cover the wide perspective of subject matter so that there's a little something for everyone, hopefully. So like I said, hopefully I'll be able to get Josh back on here a little more after making a little bit of a deal with him, and we'll see how that goes, guys. So something else, I started a poll this week. If you haven't checked out the Facebook or Twitter account, on Sunday in between football games, I was sitting on the couch and I started watching some Smallville on Hulu. That's right, if you haven't seen the show Smallville, check it out. The entire season series is on Hulu, all 10 seasons. Although I will tell you, season 8 and season 9 suck, and season 10, it's okay, but you might want to just skip to the 200th episode, and then the series finale. But in any event, if you haven't watched Smallville, I love it. It's really kind of the springboard for our current superhero CW climate. I mean, without Smallville, we probably would have gotten Arrow and Flash and Supergirl and all those other shows. So it's really a pioneer as far as superhero shows. Go check it out if you haven't. I highly recommend it. It's, along those same lines of Flash and Arrow. It started out on WB, then jumped over to CW. It's a good show, but any event, I was going through and I watched the Justice League episode of Smallville, season 6, titled Justice. And of course, on the show, they have Green Arrow, they have Superman, they have Supergirl, they have Martian Manhunter. So I decided, let's take a little poll. So each day this week, I'm going to put up a different versus match as far as the CW shared universe versus the Smallville counterparts. Sunday, I put up Stephen Amell's Green Arrow versus Justin Hartley's Green Arrow. Yesterday, I did Flash versus Impulse. And then today, right now, I got Black Canaries versus Black Canary. Tomorrow, I'll probably do Martian Manhunter. They got Supergirl, Superman. And I'm just going to get your opinion. First off, I want to know which interpretation you think was the better interpretation of the character. And second, who would win in a fight. So yesterday, people chimed in. It was Barry Allen from The Flash versus Bart Allen from Smallville, and unanimously Barry Allen was being told as the winner, as he would kick Bart Allen ass, and I gotta say I agree with that. In any event, jump on the Facebook group and on Twitter, and even on my personal Instagram page, and let me know your thoughts about who would win and who's the better interpretation of the comic book characters. Now, my last bit of housekeeping before I jump into the stories is I kind of have a confession to make. I stopped watching Westworld. I know, everyone's ranting and raving about this new show, and in the first episode, I was kind of into it. Second episode, not too bad, and then I got a little behind because, like I said, last week I had a friend here, so I fell back on my shows. So Sunday, I was going to double up and watch episode 3 and episode 4. And at the end of episode 3, I finished it and I was just like, I was kind of in and out of it. I'm like, all right, I'll watch episode 4. And about 10 minutes into episode 4, I turned it off and I was like, nope, I'm not going to waste my time. Because, guys, I consume a lot of television and movies and comic books and all that stuff. Just ask my wife. She'll tell you I probably consume way too much. So I'm a bit picky about what I like to watch. Mostly if I'm not dying to watch a show, I usually, drop it. So, shows like The Walking Dead or Westworld or, I don't know, Modern Family or whatever, those shows that have critical acclaim and people say they like, I can see why people like them. But given the fact that I watch a lot of TV, I feel like I have to be a little more choosy, so I can't watch everything. So I have to pick and choose. And Westworld, while I still think it's a fine show and I see the appeal of it, I'm gonna have to move on. You keep on doing it. It's a fine show. I'm totally I'm not saying it's stupid. It's just my personal interest. It could not hold. And to me, it's just I get where they're going with it. It's an AI show. Okay, it's like Jurassic Park meets AI. It's these robots that are becoming self-aware about their lives and then they're changing and then they kind of revolt against them. Really, I'd like to jump in at the end of this season to see kind of how everything is progressive. Because right now it's a TV show, so it's going very, very slow. And the robots, or hosts, as they call them, are just now starting to figure out that, what's going on. And in that case, it seems like the show will get interesting, but if you see a lot of sci-fi and fantasy like I do, you know where it's going. You know where it's going to end up. Really, I want to see the final outcome. Like, let me watch the season finale and maybe the season 2 premiere just to see how things have changed. Maybe I'll hop back on around that time. But for now, it's going so slow, I can pretty much predict how it's going to end. So in that instance, I'll just drop it for now because it's not holding my interest. Still think it's a fine show, but I have to move on because there are other shows that I'm more passionate about. Alright, so getting on with the real news. For those of you who haven't listened before, kind of run down a couple news stories that happened last week. Start off with some Marvel news, then DC, move on to Star Wars and Harry Potter, and then miscellaneous if we have any there. So starting off with Marvel news, the big story that came out on Saturday is that Deadline is reporting that Deadpool director Tim Miller has dropped out of doing the sequel. Now he, along with Ryan Reynolds, have been kind of campaigning for this character to get a true interpretation for the last 10 years. The first interpretation of the character was in 2009's X-Men Origins Wolverine, which a lot of people did not like. Now Ryan Reynolds, who played Wade Wilson in that film, felt like the character was kind of bastardized a bit and has always wanted to do a better interpretation of the character, which we finally got this last year with Deadpool. It was directed by Tim Miller, starred Ryan Reynolds, and was penned by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. Now, from what I understand, those two guys are still writing the sequel, but Tim Miller has dropped out of directing the sequel. Rumor has it he and Ryan Reynolds kind of have a falling out and a few of creative differences in it. The rumor is that they have creative differences on the role of Cable. Now, Cable was said to be in the Deadpool sequel, and Miller has let his thoughts been heard that he wants Friday Night Lights and Bloodline star Kyle Chandler to play Cable. Now, me being a diehard Friday Night Lights fan, I'm okay with that. But I guess Reynolds wants someone who's a little bit stockier and a different build, I guess, than what Kyle Chandler is. Because it definitely cannot be for Chandler's acting ability, because he's awesome. I believe he could play Cable in whatever interpretation. I believe he's actually that good of an actor. But I'll agree, his build isn't... Cable in the comics is a big guy. So Chandler, you want someone almost like The Rock in his stature to play him, even though I can see them not doing that. But in any event, Tim Miller no longer on the Deadpool sequel. They were set to start filming this in early 2017. It looks like they might have to push it back till they find a director. Kind of sucks because, again, I, like everyone else, really enjoyed the Deadpool film. I thought it was really good, really entertaining. Good job by everyone. But you got to think about it. Ryan Reynolds is really the star. Not only as, obviously, playing Wade Wilson, but also he's the one who first started this character and has really been gung-ho about trying to bring this character into the light, into where he should be for all these years now. Now, Tim Miller, I'm not sure how long he's been with Reynolds trying to get the project done, but I don't think it's been as long as Reynolds. Reynolds also being a producer on it who was pretty hands-on, also usually has a lot of say in this stuff as well. So while I respect Tim Miller, and I'm really sad to see him go, I can see that Reynolds, who is fully engulfed in this character, is doing what he thinks is best for the film. So the parting of the ways, it's sad because I enjoy Deadpool so much, but I'm not heartbroken because Ryan Reynolds is still on it. Now, I just hope it's not one of those cases where the success of the first film has gone to Reynolds' head and he's getting a little more egotistical. I don't think it's what it is. I don't think he would do that to the character. I don't think he has that kind of personality as well, especially being so humbled in the later years of Hollywood. I mean, there was a stroke of, a couple years there where Reynolds just could not get a hit. So he's been down on his luck. He's seen the highs and lows of this business. So I think he knows to not let one success go to his head. I believe what he's doing is for the best for the character and the film. And don't worry about Tim Miller. He's already got stuff in the works. I guess Fox has already offered him a sci-fi thriller film, Influx, which is based off a novel and is kind of working towards a trilogy and that. So Tim Miller, he's going to be all right. Don't feel sorry for him. Now, as far as replacement directors, there's already a lot of names that are being thrown out there. One of my favorites, I think, would be Kick-Ass and Kingsman director, what's his name? Matthew Vaughn, that's what it is. Matthew Vaughn, I think he'd be a great director. He's already directed X-Men First Class, so he knows the universe. He's also directed Kick-Ass and Kingsman, so he knows, again, the comic book genre as well. A lot of people are campaigning online now, I guess, for Quentin Tarantino. Terrible idea. First off, Quentin Tarantino only does original stuff. He's never done interpretations. Secondly, he doesn't fit with the Deadpool character. If you watch that first Deadpool film and then watch, say, something like The Hateful Eight, it doesn't fit. He's going to make the sequel 3 hours long, less funny, and especially with two big personalities like Ryan Reynolds and Quentin Tarantino bumping heads, that's not going to work, no. So I don't see that. I don't want that at all. But I think they do need to get a name director on the project to kind of ease people's worries a little bit. Like I said, Vaughn is already an established director who a lot of fanboys trust. So to put him on something like that, I think would ease our worries about the project. But we'll just wait and see how it goes. I guess that's all there is to it, guys. It's the business of Hollywood. What are you going to do? So we'll move on from there. Sticking with Marvel news, the first trailer has come out for the upcoming third Wolverine film that's simply titled Logan. The film was directed by James Mangold and is going to be the 9th appearance of Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine. It's set to come out March 3rd, 2017. Now, in the trailer, we saw Wolverine and Professor X, played by Sir Patrick Stewart, kind of in this dystopian future where it looks like all the mutants are gone, all the X-Men are gone, it's just him, the two of them together, and it even looks like Xavier might be kind of losing it a little bit. You saw that shot of him in the bed kind of freaking out a little, but then you also saw shots of Logan with all these scars on him as well too, like almost like his healing factor is degenerated. Anyway, we see this little girl come along that Professor X says they need to protect, and you got these government guys, also known as the Weapon X guys, coming after them, and they're led by the Reavers and the character of Donald Pierce. So you got these pretty much government guys coming after this little girl who Professor X says is like Wolverine or very much like you. For those who know the comic books, know that they've already announced that this is Laura, aka X-23. Now, the character started off in the animated series X-Men Evolution, and it was so popular she transferred over to the comics, which sometimes happens. Now, Laura is a clone of Wolverine. Instead of 3 claws, she's got 2, and if you saw the shot in the trailer, you see this one shot where Wolverine's fighting off someone, and it looks like they have two claws coming down on him, so I think that's the case there. In any event, the movie comes out in March. It's the third Wolverine film and the final appearance as Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and also Patrick Stewart as Professor X. This trailer was set to the song of Johnny Cash's Hurt. It was the perfect song to put in this to give it kind of that moody, serious tone. I didn't love it, but I liked it. What I liked about it is it's so different from, or looks so different at least, from the other X-Men films that I recently got. You had X-Men Apocalypse, which was loaded with mutants. You had X-Men Days of Future Past, which was loaded with mutants. And then, of course, you had other films, like the first Wolverine film, which was, again, loaded with mutants. One thing I liked about the second Wolverine film, the first one that James Mangold directed, was was Wolverine and maybe like one or two other mutants, and that was it. It wasn't a mutant-heavy film. It was a simple film trying to tell a character story, and I feel like that's what we're going to get from this. The Wolverine wasn't the best movie. I liked it, but if you've seen the director's cut, there's a couple of things they add in there. One of them, which is an awesome ninja fight, which I have no idea why they cut from the original film because it was the best action sequence in the film. But the director's cut I liked more than the original cut. So if you haven't checked out the director's cut, I highly recommend you doing that. Especially let you know kind of what you're getting yourself into when it comes to Logan, as far as the same director and of course a Wolverine-led film. Now, there were rumors that Mr. Sinister and the Essex Corporation that we saw at the end of X-Men Apocalypse was going to be the primary antagonist for this film. I don't see that at all from this trailer, and the more rumors I hear, it seems like they're not going to be, unless with X-23 or Laura, I can see Sinister becoming involved because at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, the after-credits scene, he took a vial of Wolverine's blood, which kind of led me to believe that they were making his clone, aka X-23. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't want Mr. Sinister to be the main villain in this film. I'd rather see Sinister be the main villain in the next X-Men film. He's a very interesting character, one of my favorite X-Men villains, so to put him in a Wolverine film where he doesn't have a lot of ties to Wolverine, he's got more ties to Cyclops and Jean Grey than anything, so I'd rather see him in that than the Wolverine film. Now, this film is supposed to loosely be based off the infamous Old Man Logan storyline, where in a dystopian future, all the heroes and X-Men are gone, and it's just Wolverine kind of left to his own. And in that storyline, though, he's fighting off offspring of the Hulk, offspring of Spider-Man, the Red Skull, all that. But because of rights issues between 20th Century Fox and Marvel Studios, you're not going to have those characters in there because they're Marvel characters and not X-Men characters. So what it looks like they're doing is it looks like you're still getting your road trip adventure from that storyline, except for you're getting Wolverine, Professor X, and Laura on the run from the government or the Weapon X program. And, whatever. I mean, there are a lot of comic book storylines that have come out movie form that have not been actually that accurate, such as Days of Future Past, Civil War, The Winter Soldier, all that stuff. So I'm okay with this. So based off this trailer, it looks interesting. I'm not super excited, but I am anxious to see what they can do. Like I said, I thought James Mangold and Hugh Jackman together in that first Wolverine film, well, not first Wolverine film, the first one they did together, which was the second Wolverine film, was a good start. I think they're diving into this character more, especially in a future setting, is going to be interesting. Of course, there have been questions now about where does this fall in the timeline, because in Days of Future Past, remember, Wolverine went and he reset kind of everything. So essentially, if you're kind of confused as far as what's X-Men timeline, what counts and what doesn't right now, let's look at it like this, guys, okay? You had the first 3 X-Men movies, and then you had the first 2 Wolverine films, okay? And then you had X-Men First Class, and then X-Men Days of Future Past. And in X-Men Days of Future Past, Wolverine went back in time to reset all the history. All the history that is post 1973. So all the events of X-Men First Class still took place, but then those first 3 X-Men movies and those first 2 Wolverine films, you can throw those out. So really what is counted right now as X-Men storyline is going to be X-Men First Class, the events of X-Men Days of Future Past that took place in 1973, X-Men Apocalypse, and the epilogue we got in Days of Future Past. So this film is said to take place after that epilogue and even more of the future. Like the end of Days of Future Past when Wolverine wakes up and everyone's still alive and the school's still going and Cyclops and Jean are there. That all still happened. That's the timeline right now, and all this takes place after that, from what I'm told. We'll see what happens post that. But in any event, the trailer looks good. I'm looking forward to it. One thing I did say, thought that was kind of interesting, was who's the man in the mask? There's that guy in the trailer. He's got the glasses, the mask, the hat. I want to know who that is. I think it's some character we know, whether it be Mr. Sinister or even Deadpool. Yes, I said the word Deadpool. It'll be interesting to see who that is. Just a couple guesses. I think he's covered up like that because he is someone we know, and it will be revealed in the movie who that character is. Alright, so last piece of Marvel news. Marvel Studios put out a teaser poster and a teaser trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.2. This one looks like is coming out May 5th, 2017, and the story is going to be about the team's adventures as they unravel the mystery to find out Peter Quill's true parentage. And for those of you who don't know, his dad is going to be played by Kurt Russell, who's going to be a giant planet. Not sure how that's going to work out, but we did get this trailer here, and in the background we got Hooked on a Feeling, which everyone has now associated with this film. If you haven't, what's your problem, man? I can't believe it. Any event, trailer, yeah, it was fun. You know, we got to see, you didn't see much as far as story wise, but you got a couple of cool shots. One of them was the Yondu rocket shot of them walking, looks like through a prison or something. And we've already been told that Yondu is gonna be working more with the Guardians and really be a Guardian, which makes sense because in the original, I believe it was 1970 Guardians of the Galaxy, Yondu was original member of the Guardians, so that makes sense. Another shot I saw, just a quick shot, was of Nebula. Yes, the sister of Gamora. She's going to be in this as well. She's in the teaser poster, and you saw just a quick shot of her on her knees. The hood gets pulled back, and you see her face. I missed it the first time, but I got it the second time. And again, just a couple other cool, scenery shots of characters and stuff like that. Nothing big. Probably the one shot that a lot of people are going to remember is the very last shot of Rocket looking through a hole that looks like he's just fired, and then Baby Groot sticks his head out from over his shoulder. Baby Groot, if you look at the teaser poster, is also down by, I think it's Star-Lord's foot, somebody's foot, but if you don't, nobody even saw it really till somebody pointed it out. They're like, oh, it's Baby Groot, which I think Baby Groot, as much as adult Groot or Big Groot was a hit in the first film, I think Baby Groot is going to be even more of a hit. He's cute, people love Groot. Now you got a baby version of Groot. It's going to work. I'm excited for the film. I love the first film. Very entertaining. I'm anxious to see what James Gunn and crew are going to do for this one. But yeah, this is just a little teaser trailer. Just gave us a couple shots, letting us know. It's more like an announcement trailer because we have almost, how long? May is 9 months? Yeah, about 9 months. So I think we're probably going to get more of an official trailer, probably Christmas time, I imagine, somewhere around there. I wouldn't be surprised if we got an official trailer with Rogue One, actually. That's my guess is. Doctor Strange, I think, coming out next week. I think it's going to be a little too early, but I could see them having an official trailer with a little more story in Rogue One. But any event, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 coming out May 5th, 2017. If you haven't seen the trailer, go ahead and check it out online. It's less than 2 minutes, and it gets you excited for the sequel. So, moving on to DC news. We'll skip over it because there is no DC news. I don't know with all the Marvel trailers or all that coming out, if DC was just like, nah, we're good. We'll let anything out this week or what. But there's nothing really that came up in the world of DC, so we're going to skip over and go straight to Star Wars. So last week, or the week before really, the new and final Rogue One trailer came out. And like I said, I was going to talk about it last week, but I wasn't able to do a show, so I'm just going to do a quick, few things about it right now to say that I really enjoyed this trailer. I really enjoyed all the trailer for Rogue One. Am I super excited for it? No. When it comes to Star Wars, you know how much I love Star Wars. My main interest is the mythology of the Jedi and the Sith. That's kind of my main pull into Star Wars. It's the part I love most about it. So this not having any Jedi or anything like that in it, I'm like, yeah, it looks fun. I'm interested in it because it's the first anthology film that Lucasfilm and Disney is doing, and I'm curious how they're going to do it. But also I'm excited because visually the film looks stunning. Gareth Edwards, when he puts in those shots of the Death Star, and in this one we got some X-Wing shots, and it was just, visually it looked just really, really cool. I cannot wait to see that all go down. Now in this trailer at the beginning, we saw Jyn Erso's dad, played by Mads Mikkelsen, get recruited by the Empire to looks like build what they call the super weapon, which we all know as the Death Star. Jyn Erso then wakes up and she's an adult and she's in prison, and then gets broken out of prison by the rebels because it looks like they need her to help find her dad who is building the Death Star. Makes sense. Along the way we see a couple other cool things. We see a Jedi statue in the sand. Looks like, I'm not sure if that's where the rebel base is or if that's just another planet, but it looks like, it was a monument to the Jedi, and it was, been taken down. I'm assuming the planet Jedi, is that how they say it? There's a planet they're going to be visiting called Jedi in this movie, which, of course, I'm sure is kind of where the Jedi helped get their start. I'm sure that statue in the sand that looks an awful lot like Obi-Wan Kenobi, that's where they're going to visit, and that's where that shot comes in. Donnie Yen's character, the blind character, he mentions the Force a lot in this trailer as well, so we're all thinking that he has some kind of Force ability, especially since how well he took out all those Stormtrooper guys. Now the big thing we got in this trailer was more Darth Vader. That's right, the Dark Lord of the Sith was in this trailer in a couple shots. The most famous one being the one where he's walking out of the smoke. We also saw that shot of Ben Mendelsohn's character when he was talking to Vader. You saw the back of Vader's head. And the one shot of Vader that I missed, that I didn't catch until I went to rewatch this trailer right before I did this podcast, was when they're showing the red computer screen and you see the ground and you see Vader's silhouette off on the floor, actually. So there's another shot of Vader I personally missed. I'm sure you caught it. Speaking of shots that I missed, Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa is back in this film. I'm not sure how big of a role he's going to play, but people said he was spotted in the trailer in that big Rebel meeting get-together. I looked for him a couple times. I couldn't see him, but, I have trouble finding Waldo too, so there you go. Just look for him if you can. Overall, a really good final trailer. It gives you a sense of what this film is going to be all about. Gets me more excited. Don't get me wrong, I am excited. It's a Star Wars movie. Of course I'm freaking excited. It's going to deepen the mythology of Star Wars as well. So I'm just not super excited because there's going to be no Jedi. Minus my boy Vader, which I really hope we get to see him kick some ass. I think that's what everyone really wants to see, is Vader just in his prime, taking out his lightsaber, choking some people, slicing through some people, and overall just, him on the battlefield. That would be totally awesome, just taking people out. I believe the film opens on the 15th, 16th, something like that. I don't remember. I haven't got my tickets yet. I have got my tickets for Doctor Who, and I've also got my tickets for Fantastic Beasts. They haven't done pre-sale tickets yet for Rogue One, but you can bet your star patoot the moment they go on sale, I'm going to be picking them up, and I'll worry about my work schedule later. So there you go, guys. So Keeping with Star Wars news, another announcement that came out this weekend, Donald Glover has been cast as a young Lando Calrissian in the upcoming Han Solo anthology film. He's going to play opposite Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, and the film is going to take place before the events of 1977 Star Wars, before he meets up with Leia and Han and Darth Vader in the events of Empire Strikes Back. Directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller said, quote, "We're so lucky to have an artist as talented as Donald to join us. These are big shoes to fill and even bigger capes, and this one fits him perfectly, which will save us money on alterations." Ha ha, ha ha. Now, Lando Calrissian was previously played by Billy D. Williams in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and Williams has also voiced Lando several times on the current Disney XD show Star Wars Rebels. Glover is known for his roles on shows like Community and the current series Atlanta. The Han Solo anthology film, which doesn't have an official title yet, is going to be released on May 25th, 2018. So Donald Glover, I've seen him in Community. I wasn't a big Community fan, but I've seen enough to get a taste of Donald Glover. I haven't checked out that new show Atlanta. I heard it's good. But he was also in last year's, The Martian, too. So from what I know about Donald Glover, I think he's going to do fine. I think he's going to do a really good job. I can picture him in the role. I can picture him being just fine. I'm not sure how big his role is going to be. I don't want Lando to have a big role in this movie, really. To me, I picture him being at the beginning of the movie, and it's him and Han playing a game of sabacc, and that's when he loses the Millennium Falcon to Han. So then he sees Chewie and Han fly off, and maybe we see him one more time in the film, but I'd like to limit his time, really. We've gotten so much of him in Rebels, which is really cool, that I want to kind of limit him as well in this film. I don't want him to be one of the main characters of the Han Solo film. I want to focus on Solo and Chewie and, somebody else. But Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, I can totally see it. I'm totally okay with it. Let's move on from there, guys. So that's it for Star Wars news. We got no Harry Potter news. So we're going to go to miscellaneous. I got 2 more stories to run through, guys. Going to be a quick show today. So 20th Century Fox debuted their newest trailer for Assassin's Creed. The premise is, through a revolutionary technology that unlocks his genetic memories, Callum Lynch, played by Michael Fassbender, experiences the adventures of his ancestors in the 15th century Spain. Callum discovers he is a descendant from a mysterious secret society, the Assassins, and amasses incredible knowledge and skills to take on the oppressive and powerful Templar organization in the present day. The film was directed by Justin Kurzel, who directed Snowtown and Macbeth, and is going to be open in theaters December 21st, 2016. That's a week after Rogue One comes out. So starting off, I have never played the Assassin's Creed video games. I'm not much of a video gamer. But every time I see the previews for a new Assassin's Creed game, I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks like kind of game I might enjoy, kind of the adventure game such as that. Now, in this trailer, we kind of got a basic storyline as far as what they do. They take this character, Lynch, and he looks like he's about to die on his birthday, nonetheless, and they fake kill him. And then they send him to this place where they, through some technology, access the memories of his ancestor, and he's fighting along in some kind of VR, dreamscape, weird world. Okay, let's just keep... I'm going to get this out here. This movie looks like a B-rated sci-fi movie, in my opinion. It looks like something I would see on the Sci-Fi Channel, just with better graphics. What I don't get is, okay, again, when I've seen the Assassin's Creed video game commercials, I think, oh, that looks cool. Never in the video game was there anything about the people of the future going back in time through past memories and bloodlines and all that. I'm like, I thought it was just, set in the 15th century. It was just a cool adventure game. This whole sci-fi aspect of, going back through memories and bloodlines, it just seems a little weird to me. Just give me an Assassin's Creed film about the Assassin's Creed, not about this future company that's trying to gain something through this criminal. I don't even know what's going on, to be honest. And that's kind of my problem here, is they're using Michael Fassbender's character to send him back in time to his ancestors. Now, first off, is Fassbender's character affecting the timeline, or is he just like walking through what his ancestor did? I'm not so sure about that. But also, the main question is why? What does this company have to gain to send these people back in time to live the past? It's the past. If they're going really back into the past, are they trying to change something? That seems a little weird to me. I'm just very unclear about what's going on and why this company is doing this. What are they hoping to gain? Which I know is probably a plot point that you have to go see the movie to see, and chances are I'll probably go see the movie, but to me, I think it would be a lot more interesting. I'd just rather go see a straight up 15th century film about the Assassin's Creed instead of about this future company sending this criminal back in time. It seems all a little weird to me. I'm not sure. It's almost like a what do I say? Maybe like I don't know what it is really, but it doesn't work for me. This whole premise, it doesn't really work for me. I'm gonna go see this movie on the sure fact that I want to see Michael Fassbender in the 15th century as an assassin. That's really what the selling point. If you could take out all the sci-fi elements for me, I probably would enjoy this trailer more. But I don't know. I'll just have to wait and see. But again, I haven't played the video game, so I'm not well versed in what this story is all about. Guess what? I'll have to go watch the movie and find out for myself. Alright guys, the last story of the day. One, I'm going to nerd out a little bit on it, so I'm going to go ahead and apologize. So, looks like according to the Hollywood Reporter, Leonardo DiCaprio's Alpine Way Productions, is that Alpine? I don't know, something Way Productions. Anyway, Leonardo DiCaprio's production company is teaming up with Paramount Pictures to finally bring to life Captain Planet. That's right, it is based off the environmentally minded animated series that took place in 1990 and ran for 6 seasons. Now this show, just to give you an idea about what it is, I'm going to go ahead and give you the intro, which is written right in front of me, but I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes because I know this thing by heart, okay? Our world is in peril. Gaia, the spirit of Earth, can no longer stand the terrible destruction plaguing our planet. She sends 5 magic rings to 5 special young people. From Africa, Kwame, with the power of Earth. From North America, Wheeler, with the power of fire. From the Soviet Union, which was later changed to Russia, Linka, with the power of wind. From Asia, Gi, with the power of water. And from South America, Mati, with the power of heart. When the 5 powers combine, they summon Earth's greatest champion, Captain Planet. Go Planet! Alright, I'm done there now, guys. So, I always credit myself as kind of being an 80s kid. I was born in 83, you know, let's say the child of the 80s. But really, my kind of prime time was between 85 and 95. So, any cartoons between 85 and 95 is really what I'm claiming. So, I'm kind of 1 foot in the 80s, 1 foot in the early 90s. So, I'll go ahead and say that. Captain Planet was one of my favorite cartoons as a kid. It was all about, you know, being environmentally friendly and saving the earth, and they always had some kind of environmental recycling message in it. It was really cool. I liked it a lot. I had a lot of the toys, and this film had a lot of good voice talent. You had Whoopi Goldberg, Meg Ryan, LeVar Burton, Tim Curry, and Jeff Goldblum all doing voices for this show, and it had a good message with it too. So, as you know, Leonardo DiCaprio is a big environmentalist. He's got a new film, Before the Flood, that's coming out. I think he announced on his Twitter that it was going to be streaming actually for free, I think next week or something like that. But it's a documentary where he narrates and hosts about climate change. He also executive produced. So he's big on, you know, climate change and saving the earth and all that. So him being attached to a property or franchise that is all about saving the environment, it makes sense. Now I'm curious, of course, with this film, A, how fast it's going to get made, and B, if DiCaprio himself is going to be in the film. Because given that he is the name, he is the driving force that is pushing this forward. For years, they've talked about a Captain Planet movie, and it never really got any leadway, but a guy like Leonardo Dicaprio, who just won an Oscar for Best Lead Actor after many, many years of not being nominated and not getting it. He's a big guy. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, I'll go and say, is my favorite actor. Lisa thinks I have some kind of man crush on him, whatever. He's a great actor, totally awesome. So him getting behind this film is what's pushing this property forward, and I'm all about it because, again, I'm a fan of the property. I myself is very environmentally conscious as well. Conscious as well. So I'm all about this film that gets made, and it's, the age of the superhero films. So if you could take a message of being environmentally friendly with that superhero slant, I think that'd be really cool. And the premise of it is really cool. You got your 5 kids find these rings. Each of them have a power. They combine them to form a superhero. It's very much, Voltron, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, whatever. 5 kids coming together to, create an unstoppable force. Again, I'm a fan of the show. I go back and I tried to watch it a while ago because there are episodes on YouTube, and it doesn't really hold up, I think. It's a 90s show. What are you going to do? But also, of course, it was just kind of cheesy. But in any event, it was one of my favorites as a kid, and I'm looking forward to this movie to see how the progression of it goes along. And again, if DiCaprio, just how involved he's going to be in the project. But in any event, go Planet! Alright guys, well that's it. Not too many shows, just a few things I wanted to do. Like I said, I want to talk about a couple of those trailers, a few of the things that happened. Hopefully next week, I'll be back with a co-host, whether it be Lisa or Josh, and hopefully I'll have a better show for you. I'm not a big fan of doing these things by myself. I don't like to hear myself ramble, and I like to have someone to bounce ideas off of, but I wanted to do one this week because I didn't get a show last week. So there you have it, guys. So now let me know what you think, okay? Send in your thoughts and comments to dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com, the Facebook group, the Twitter group, or you can hit me up personally on my Twitter and Instagram page, Slim, SLYM, Dayspring12. Let me know what you think. And also, hit up the poll I got going this week. It's the CW Heroes versus Smallville's Justice League, okay? Let me know each day, who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's the better interpretation? All that jazz. And I have another thing that I'm hopefully going to get to today. This website, The Richest, came out with the top 15 hottest stars of CW superhero shows. And I read it, and I totally disagree with it, okay? As a guy who watches all 4 of the CW superhero shows, maybe it's my own personal taste, but I think they got the order a little mixed up. So I made my own list, and I've got my order. And for once, I'm going to sit down and do a quick little blog. I haven't actually done a blog in a long time, but you can look for that on the Dayspring Discussions blog site as well. And I'll put that up, and I'll put a link to the Facebook group and all that. And then, of course, again, you chime back and you tell me, who do you think the hottest girls of the superhero CW shows are? And if you want to do the guys, if you want to, make your own guy list, if you swing that way, do that too. But let me know, guys. So that's going to be it for me, guys, today. Thanks for spending some time with me. And as always, may the force be with us all.